Hello and welcome. Today's topic is PrimeReact. Compared to Prime Faces, Prime Engine, Prime View, PrimeReact is a bit behind regarding the popularity and adoption. Uh, to fix that, we have decided to take a break and go back to the drawing board and try to come up with something new and fresh. And we had came up with a two phase plan. The phase one was related to improving the developer experience in, let's say, the documentation, demos, and things. And the phase two is all about customization and styling. Lately, I think 2 days ago, we have just released the new version 9.2, and it marks the completion of phase one. So I'll go through what we have done and discuss what we will do in the phase two. So the landing, there are not many changes. The biggest change is about the showcase. There's a new UI design, and on the left side you can see that there are now categories about how to get started, the components, theming, Figma UI, icon hooks, and things. So it's easier to navigate. And on the right side, there was a configurator on the right edge. Now we have moved it here. So here you can see the theme switcher and other configurator for the showcase. And now there is version switcher as well. And notice that we moved to PrimeReact.org. So it was under an umbrella of Prime Faces. And just like Prime Engine and Prime View, now PrimeReact has its own domain. So it's now out of Prime Faces shadow, let's say. And one of the things I like is that there's a new sub-menu here that you can use to navigate the documentation. Let's check out, for example, the drop-down. Now you can see that in the past we had the everything. If you check out older website, older documentation, everything was bundled together. So there was one demo and it had 10 drop downs, and it was hard to learn which which part of the code is related to the demo that you see. Now every demo is standalone and executable at Code Sandbox here, as you can see. And every demo has a separate documentation, and it's much easier to navigate. And you can see the full page code as well, which you can copy and paste and run at Code Sandbox as well. So in case you'd like to play with it and change things as well. And also, there's the TypeScript versions. In case you are using TypeScript, we have greatly improved the TypeScript, the types that we bundle, and now the demos also show it. The TypeScript support as well. You can also use Code Sandbox and Stack Blitz and just copy what you see. And if you go through the demos, you can see that the majority, the highlighted features are available here. And special to the React, in case you are using a form library like Formic or Hook Form, we have decided to come up with demos integrating PrimeReact and to show that how we support these third-party form libraries. And the accessibility section is here. This is the specification. And now we will start porting the implementation to PrimeReact as well. And we also have the hooks. This is new. For example, there's a new hook like use click outside. Suppose that you have a button and a div. When you open the button, when you click the button, a div shows up. And you probably like to hide it when outside click is, when there's an outside click of the div. So this is something that you can use, and you can see that there's a full source code for this hook. And we have a couple of more hooks, and the more will come in the future as well. And in the discover section, we have external resources, how you can get support. There's a link to the Prime flags, Prime blocks, and templates. So I think this is much easier to navigate, and all the components are grouped. And there's let's check out for example, calendar. There's a new API tag. This is something I like because, for example, the component provides props, of course, and each prop is documented with types, the default values, and the description. And also what we've been lacking was the events. For example, what we pass to the, for example, here, there's a calendar change event. And the calendar change event passes this parameters to you. That was not documented. Now it is, so that you can see there's a calendar change event, and it passes you the checked property original event target, which you can just go and link as well to see what type is provided. This was lacking, and as a developer, I would like to know what parameters I have in the custom callbacks. And everything is here, and it was done manually before. Now it's generated from our DTS using TypeDoc, and we've integrated that in the showcase. Plus, another nice thing I like is this: there's a powered by Algolia, there's a full text search. For example, you're using for a calendar, and now you'd like to use calendar locale, and you can navigate from that from a global search. And thanks to Algolia search for their support. And I think that's it for phase one. Hope you like it, the new changes, the demos and documentation. We have done more than 700 demos, and I've written the technical parts, and our team has done a lot of work. It was really took months, and now we are here. Now moving on to phase two. Phase two is all about styling and customization. You see that there's a style part here, but it's not very detailed. Now in phase two, we will move it up here. There will be a style tab, and in that tab, we'll show you how to use, let's say, CSS in JS, how to use CSS modules, how to use Tailwind to style certain components. Of course, to make it work, we need to do some changes on our side, and that's the core part of phase two, which is the new styling. Right now, it's like global CSS coming into your components, into your project. Let's see the installation part. Our idea is to make all of these go away. So the theme will be like a CSS in JS. Instead of loading a global CSS, you will define it from the new PrimeReact context. There will be a theme object, and you will just define it here, import our themes, or you can create your own. The core will be moved inside so that it will be optional, and icons, we will provide templating for each icon as well, and we are migrating to SVGs so that prime icons will be optional, so that you won't be including any CSS, and we will be bundling our CSS as optimized as possible, so that the CSS will be the CSS will be about the components you use. So if you are using dropdown, you will only get the dropdown CSS, and it will be reactive instead of the theme switcher here. You need to, we have it on the showcase of course with the Bootstrap and things, but the idea is instead of switching CSS, which is global, we will just create a reactive theming engine, and then you will just switch a variable like PrimeReact.theme is Lara Light or Material Blue, something like that. And it will be quite easy. And the biggest news is that that PrimeReact Designer is a paid add-on. Now it becomes free and open source, because right now we are quite happy with the optional add-ons, paid add-ons like UI kits, the premium templates, and the Prime blocks. So we don't really depend on PrimeReact Designer. We have other sources of income thanks to the popularity of the Prime UI libraries. And now PrimeReact Theme Designer will be open source and free as well, so that you don't need to pay something to customize the components. And all the component themes, the pre-built themes, will be the SCSS structure, and the new styling engine, the upcoming one, will be free and open source. So that's coming as well. And so we are quite excited. Usually, we are having some sleep troubles as well, because the ideas, so many things moving around. And of course, the phase two will be a game changer. And with the new unstyled mode, of course, coming up on top of the new styling engine, so that you will be able to access the component internals as well. For example, there was some proof of concepts that's working, but I would like to show you later. Let's move to Laravel. For example, this switch is pre-skinned, which is from Lara. Of course, you can switch to Material and Bootstrap. It will provide their own theme with the PrimeReact. But what if you like to use Tailwind or something else? In that case, we are providing the new unstyled mode so that you can do it globally or at component level. So that component provides accessibility and events and everything else, the bindings, and you will be responsible for styling it using the library of choice like Bootstrap or Tailwind. So to do that, we are going to expose the component internals. Like if you consider this input switch, there's the container, of course, there's this background slider, and there's the handle. And all of these, for example, this one is 3 elements. The dropdown is a bit more, like the container, the icon, the panel, the items. So all of these will be exposed so that you can bind attributes, the class style, anything that you have, even some extended accessibility attributes. Like you will be able to touch these internals. So the components no longer will be like encapsulated third-party stuff. It will be something that you had developed in your own project, so that whatever you use in your styling, whether it's style components, CSS and JS, CSS modules, Tailwind or SCSS, you will be able to style the PrimeReact components the way you like it. And it will be, I think, a game changer for PrimeReact. And right now we are in the middle of Q2 2023. We hope to finish it by the end of second quarter 2023. So maybe about 2 months. And right now we are quite happy with what we have done with phase 1. And now the fun part begins with the phase 2. Stick with PrimeReact and you will see a lot of great changes coming up. Thank you very much.